Welcome back to the Pudding Pal podcast, where the proof is in the pudding. Girls, we're back, and we've been busy. Alexxa, you're here.
I'm here.
Straight off the plane from Ibiza.
I made it. I'm drinking some coffee, and I don't even drink coffee. So fun.
Out today. Tell us about it.
It was so fun, but one outstanding moment was one of the guys that was on this trip. I've met previously one other time, and he's very much like a promoter. So like talks a big game, and I am a BS reader. All I am like radar is flashing. Yeah. Like get away. You're making stuff up. Get away from me.
Yeah.
So I was already stressed out before the trip that he was going to be there, and we get to the trip, and day 1 and 2, exactly how I thought was happening. It's annoying. Oh my God, so annoying. Nonstop talking. I know. And then we go to this club, and there was these guys that were really close behind me. So I'm like, hey, can you help me get these guys away from me? And he's like, yeah, no problem. And he comes up and stands right next to my husband and I, and all of a sudden it smells so bad.
Stop.
And I was like, did you fart? And I asked Christian, I'm like, did you fart? He's like, no. He's like, but someone did. It smells so bad.
That's how he got them away?
No. He's like, I bet you it was him. And so I turn around and ask him, and I'm like, did you fart? And he's like, yeah.
Oh, to get them away.
You wanted me to get the guys away. I didn't have to say a word.
So good.
You guys,
you're like, now you're my bestie.
Now I was like, you know what? I fucking love you. Yeah. And
you might be a douchey promoter, but you've got skill.
We're besties now.
He might be able to join this crew with the gas
He could hang out with us. Yes.
Was Ibiza so nice?
It was so nice. Party town, USA. Yeah, it was so fun.
Do you think any of us could have hung in there with you, or zero chance?
No.
Don't look at me.
Staci, maybe?
Barry,
for sure. Yeah, for sure, Barry. That's Ashley's husband, so.
Yeah. Steph, how was the competition? Another one?
Another one.
Dance mom
life. So this was kind of funny. We had to be, the competition was like a 2-hour drive away. So of course I had my iced coffee in the morning. I'm getting all packed up. I needed to figure out a way to bring my coffee with me. So I poured it in the only plastic cup I have at my house, which is a red Solo cup. Fine.
Classy.
So it is classy. But anyways, I pour my iced coffee in there. We're driving. We finally get there. We're unpacking. We have 16 bags for 2 days. The iced coffee spills. Of course, I'm like, fuck. My daughter looks at me. She goes, what is that, tequila? It's 9 a.m. and I just drove 2 hours. No, it's iced coffee. She's like, well, I know that you guys are just always drinking at these competitions. So I just got schooled at 9 a.m. by my daughter while I chase after her with hairspray and bobby pins and costumes.
Yeah, but I needed that tequila.
Don't worry. The rest of the weekend was plenty of tequila. The bartender was even surprised by how much the dance mom drinks. He goes, some of these moms, they come and they get 2 at a time.
She's like, I'm one of them. Pour it up.
She's like, I'll take 3. I'm being called out.
We give you credit, though. We give you credit for powering through that. We might be able to survive Ibiza better than the dance competition.
Maybe.
It's a toss-up.
Probably not.
For sure.
What else is going on, girls?
So I got a call from, you guys will like this, the nurse at school, who happens to be like a friend of mine. And she calls me, she's like, well, let me preface. In the morning, Declan was like kind of having a stomach ache, and he was like in the bathroom. And I was like, okay, well, if you don't feel well, just go to the nurse and call me and I'll come get you. Okay, whatever. So I take him to school, he's fine. And then I get a call after I drop my daughter off, and it's the nurse, and she's like, hey, I have your son in here, he's not feeling well. I was like, okay, let me talk to him. I was like, do you need to go to the bathroom? He's like, no, I just need to come home, I don't feel good. I said, okay. So I was in traffic, so I ended up calling my mom to go get him, and she calls him, or she picks him up, and she's like, he's okay, like he's just gonna go home and lay on the couch. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go play tennis. Obviously, couldn't miss tennis.
Obviously.
And I will, when I get home, I'll check on him. So I play tennis, I get home, and I'm like, oh, you don't feel good? Like, what do you want to do? And he's like, pranked ya. I said, what? He said, pranked ya. I said,
He's in kindergarten.
He didn't want
He's not even 6 yet.
He wanted to leave.
I said, wait. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, no.
Like, how do you even get mad?
Yeah, I didn't.
Because it's so, like, he's A, like, look around.
He's a pudding pup.
B, like, that's, like, really fucking smart.
I was like,
I would have been like, good one.
so I laughed and I was like, okay, this is really funny.
Yeah.
But like, do it again. You're in trouble.
Yeah.
But then
Boy
the
who cried
nurse-
wolves.
The nurse calls me or texts me later on that day, and she's like, maybe like 45 minutes later, she's like, so Ashley's son just came in here, and who happens to be best friends with my son, and he's like, I hurt my finger. I need you to call my mom. And she's like, I'm not calling your mom for a hurt finger. And he's like, no, I need to call my mom. And she's like, wait, is this because your friend went home sick today? And he was like, yeah, I want to go play Fortnite with him. And she's like, go back to class. Like, you're done. And he's like, no, call my. They colluded, and one of them got caught. But I was like, it was so good.
They are true pudding punks. They party, they prank, they just don't parent.
Exactly.
These kids are learning from the best.
All right, well, today we have a new guest on. She's the funniest mom, the ultimate influencer, and truthfully, like the queen of keeping it real. And she's ready to stir the pudding. She's going to talk divorce, marriage, dating, motherhood, and everything in between. So let's bring her on, Aurora Culpo.
Aurora,
Hi.
welcome to the Pudding Pal podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you here. We have been following your journey from motherhood to dating to healthy living, and we're so inspired by you.
Thank you.
And we're so excited to get into it. So let's do it. I know we all have so many questions.
Okay, so I have been sober since October. Sober as in I gave up alcohol. Thanks. I'm not really sober, just alcohol. And I heard you were sober curious
Yeah.
recently.
Well, yes. I've gone through phases of my life where I've done like a year of no alcohol, then like I wean back into it, and then it's been a journey figuring out like what to call it really.
Yes.
So
Like California sober, but yes, for me, alcohol and I don't get along. But it took me a very long time to realize that.
yeah.
So, but how's it going for you?
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody really gets along with alcohol. It is a poison. It's poisonous, but I do think it's poison for your brain. And I do think that for me, what I think I realized is that there's times in my life when I have a propensity to abuse it or use it as like a crutch or numbing. And like when I was going through my divorce, I was like, okay, I feel like there's either like one of two directions I could go with this. And moderation really just like wasn't an option for me. So I had to just have none.
Same.
So,
Same,
and that's like
exactly.
one of the things, I actually just did a post this morning where I was like, one of the things I can't stand that people would say to me during that time is like, you're not an alcoholic. Like you've never, because I've never had a DUI. I've never been the sloppy person. I've never I don't like everybody just be like, just have it in moderation. And I'm like, or like everything in balance. I just have some balance, but it's a nice idea, but it's not a possibility for everybody.
Reality. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think that everyone has like that alcoholic stigma means you have to be like drunk all the time.
Right.
It's like that's not really like
Right.
what it is.
No.
Like, some people overuse it at certain times, and it's not every day people have to drink it to be an alcoholic.
Right.
So I just think that's like a
Yeah.
It's the stigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel so
Hard.
much better. But yes, for me it was all or nothing.
Yeah. And maybe there'll be a time, I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like I live in black and whites a lot. Like I have ADHD. I feel like everybody does, but like balance is not really something I do well ever really. So for me, now I'm able to drink and it's not really a problem, but I think that I generally feel better when I don't anyway, just because I think my mental health can be really sensitive sometimes. Like if I don't have enough sleep or if I'm PMSing or something, even like 1 or 2 glasses of wine will mess up my sleep, and then I'm not my best version of myself.
Yeah. No, I get
Yeah.
it. And everything, like you said, moderation is not for everybody. But
Yeah.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah, and I imagine like during divorce, which that's such a hard time, and it's I give you so much credit for knowing like it was either going to go one of two ways, and just I want to get into talking about divorce because it's something we respect you so much for, and can't imagine how hard it is to go through with 2 children.
Yeah.
And what was that experience like? Because I know there's so many other women out there going through the same thing.
I know. Somebody actually just DM'd me the other day, and it's like such a hard thing to answer in like a DM to a stranger that I don't really. She was like, "How did you get the courage to leave your husband? I have 2 kids, and he's been emotionally abusive, and I keep saying, I'm gonna like stick it out for the kids until they leave the house." And obviously, I feel like I can't give this woman advice because everybody's situation is so different. My kids were 1 and 3, and I feel like I think when I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but I think when the answer becomes so clear to you that like anything would be better than this, you just kind of like it's like it wasn't a difficult choice for me, and I feel like during that time it was just like I was in survival mode. So I was just like, I'm going to do whatever the next right step is. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to think like too far down the line, and I'm just going to be like, okay, like what's the first step? I'm going to file. The next step, I'm going to get a lawyer. The next step, like I need to find a new place to live. And I think I was really grateful because I was working, so I could afford to live on my own before like financial stuff was settled and everything. I think a lot of people aren't like, they can't even understand how they would get to that point, which makes me have a whole new perspective about like, I have tons of respect for stay-at-home moms, but I also think it puts you in such a vulnerable position if you're not like financially.
Absolutely.
How did you approach the topic with your kids?
That was, I also feel like I kind of lucked out in that sense too, because they were 1 and 3.
Yeah.
So it's kind of all they know. I don't know if I did this correctly, but I kind of just like, I know.
So don't put yourself down for that.
I don't know. Like slowly but surely, like things would come up, and they still kind of come up. Like now I'm seeing somebody, so I've had to address it pretty head on, but there have been times in the last like year where my 4-year-old would be like, how come Isla's mom and dad are in the same house and you guys aren't? Or even like a couple months ago, they were like, we want you to have a baby. Like we want a little sibling. And I'm like, but who would the father be? This is before I was in a relationship. And they're like, dad, of course. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, remember, we're not married anymore. And they're like I just kind of see their wheels turning. They don't really get it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's easier than explaining, I don't know, your dad didn't want to sleep with one person and I wasn't okay with that. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to like.
But I think you did it the right way.
How do you make it developmentally appropriate? I don't know.
I also think that like, people say, I think it's a financial thing a lot, and I think it's also the kids, right?
Yeah.
My parents got divorced when I was 16, and honestly, I think it was harder because I was able to understand it, and I was like so upset where I was like, if you're younger, I don't know, I feel like it goes both ways. People say they want to wait, but I don't think it makes a difference at any age. I think any age, if you're that upset, you're going to be upset about it, right? So
totally.
I mean, it happened, 3 years ago? So I was 31 when my parents got divorced, but they had a very tumultuous relationship, like my whole upbringing. So my parents decided to stay for the kids, and then I watched my mom sacrifice like herself for the kids. And I'm like, Mom, at the end of the day, now I'm an adult. He did the exact same thing he did to you 2 other times. Now, thank God you're like strong enough to get past it. But like, was it worth all of the wasted years and like all of the time that she could have used it to like do something beneficial for herself? Because I still feel like she feels this small, but her whole life, that's all she's ever known.
Yeah, because your self-esteem just gets so beat down over so many years. But so why did do you think she really stayed together because she thought it would be better for you guys?
I think that she avoids any conflict.
Yeah.
So she just, that was the excuse. And then it became to a point where then I was an adult and I had kids. And I'm like, hey, that's not something that I'm okay with. So like my relationship with my dad has also went south, which is totally fine. But I think that she just felt like she had no more excuses left. So like she knew she had to, but she's still, it's been 3 years. She's still like best friends with him and, still sacrifices herself so much that still doesn't see it.
I think that's probably like one of the benefits of you getting the courage and, doing it now, because they grow up knowing this is how it is. It's not confusing. There's not back and forth.
Right.
And I give you so much credit to give them that, because I imagine this situation being so hard now, trying to figure it out as an adult rather than just knowing how that was.
Yeah. I think every situation is so different too. Like, I really wasn't in love with him anymore. I don't know what it would be like for somebody who kind of like maybe still was, or the situation where a man leaves for another woman, and then there's so many dynamics that can just be so tricky. I think I knew that, like, if I didn't get out soon, like early on, that things would only get more and more complicated. And and I think I was right about that, so I'm happy.
So, like, transitioning from that to basically being a single mom with your kids, like, at what point were you like, okay, I have this under control? Or
I'm not there yet. Not today. I don't know. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't. It's definitely stress. It's been stressful. I think I didn't even realize like how stressful it was until things have been a little bit easier. Like, just this year, I'm like in a relationship that I feel really happy in, and I feel like I can I'm happy with my job and everything, and my relationship with my ex is fine, like as good as it needs to be. There was a while there with like lawyers alone, just like the amount of money that I was spending, like the financial stress, the toxic energy, just like going through the fine print of like a contract that you have with somebody that you never thought you were going to have to get to, and then me like trying to, I don't know, and then obviously all the opinions from the outside, even friends like that I have that were like, do you think like in any world you guys could make it work? Because we don't, like, he never hit me. We don't scream at each other. So a lot of people are like, I think you guys are like, even if when we're with each other, sometimes people are like, oh, you guys are actually like so cute together. Maybe you should get back together. I'm like, you think you saw us for 2 minutes and you think you could just sum up my entire life choice for, it's just, people say the weirdest things.
Probably people don't want to feel, it makes other people feel uncomfortable. So it's like, right? It's like, just because you're uncomfortable with us, like, maybe not talking to each other, we're good.
Yeah, like my mom still wishes we would get back together. And I'm like, and I'll like straight up be like, remember this, and this, like the reasons why I don't want to be with him. And she'd just be like, she's like, sounds kind of like your mom. I don't know if it's a generational thing, but she's just like, blah, 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 like, oh, but
it's
like,
fine. Look, he's trying.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying. Or like, it could be so much worse. I'm like, but it could be better too.
You're like, I could be happy.
Yeah. It's like, oh, but it's your happiness doesn't matter. It's the kids' happiness until they're 18. But like, and I think that generation too feels like if you're not sacrificing, then the kids aren't benefiting. Like, your happiness couldn't possibly help them and their happiness.
Yeah, which isn't true.
Yeah.
Our generation does a much better job of knowing that in order for our children to be happy, we also have to be happy to be a good parent.
I also think having children grow up in a home with like just that contentious kind of energy that's constantly there, I think is worth.
And the kids know. They know.
They know.
That's
They
what's
feel
sad.
it.
Yeah. No, the kids know. Yeah. And they will act out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but now you're dating.
Now I'm dating.
But take us back to like when you first started dating. Was that like, how long were you married for? Let's start there.
Okay, so we were together for like 9 years total. We were only married for like less than 3 years. And then the divorce took like 2 years. So, which is, but for the first like year when I was going through all the lawyers and everything, I really was like, I wasn't dating. I also felt oddly still loyal to him in a way. Like the idea of like, even like kissing somebody else kind of like grossed me out. Like I have never cheated on anybody in my life. It's not something that I feel like I'm just kind of one of those like, I don't know, like I have like tunnel vision. Yeah. Even though I wasn't sleeping with him either, but I wasn't sleeping with other people. I was sleeping with him for a while. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess so like a year went by and then I was kind of dipping my toes in the dating world, and then I was like, oh God. Like I think for a second I was like, my marriage might have been easier. So like just crazy.
It's rough out there.
It is rough out there, especially I didn't realize this, but okay, so I'm 36 and my dating range was like my age to like 50. My ex is 15 years older than me, so like I didn't really care about age, but what I realized is that like the people who were single, the men who were single, if they had never married or never been in a long-term relationship, like that was a red flag. They had attachment issues or something, or maybe they were just in rehab for the last 10, like there was, which was a thing, like that actually was a common thing. Like I saw like people who were like going through drug things for the last couple of years, last like decade. There was like all reasons why, if you're not in a long-term relationship and you're in your 40s, 50s, then it's like you probably have an emotional issue, an attachment issue, or you went through a divorce. The best case scenario is that you were in a long-term relationship and it didn't work out and you went through some kind of a separation or divorce or whatever, and hopefully, because you learn so much about yourself, and second marriages are more successful than first. And I think that's just because like you do learn about, yourself in relationship. So yeah, I mean, I was dating a lot of people who were not emotionally mature and didn't really know, like thought that they maybe wanted a relationship, but they actually didn't want a relationship. So.
Did you meet your current boyfriend on a dating app?
I did.
And like, what was that like?
Yeah, I met him on a dating. So I was on Riot for a long time, like 2 years, and I kept finding like one person after the next who, like, I had some wild situations. One guy was.
Tell us your craziest. Yeah. Tell us your wildest situation.
The craziest was I met this guy on Raya. We dated for like 2 months. He was super serious about, he lived in Orange County, but he was like, I'm gonna rent a house in Manhattan Beach.
Before he met you?
No, we were dating. We were like 2 months dating. He was like, I'm gonna rent a house in Manhattan Beach just so that like I could be there to spend more time with you. And I'm like, okay, well, like I'm not moving in. And like he hadn't met my kids or anything, but very serious. Made it like we had plans, like all these plans. He came to the Super Bowl with me. Brought my whole family there because like my brother-in-law was playing in it, and I don't know, just like I talked to his mom even on the phone. Okay, you guys, you're gonna die.
I mean, that like accelerated pretty quickly.
Yeah, 2 months.
That was the red flag to begin with. Like he was trying to move really quick. He had I'll tell you how it really happened. Okay, so we had a trip. The first trip we were gonna go on together, and he ended up canceling last minute. And this was like the third time in a row where he had just like a weird something come up last minute. And he was like, you're never gonna believe it. My son, he had 2 kids with a woman that I knew. She like lived down the street. They were never married, whatever. Had 2 kids with her. And he said, my son, at baseball, he broke his arm, and we're in the emergency room right now, and he sends me a picture of an x-ray, and I zoom in on the date on the x-ray, and it's from like 3 years ago. Yeah. So I was like FaceTiming. And also he didn't know that like if you can look on a photo.
Yeah. When it's saved.
It just happened to us.
Oh yeah. Don't ever send anybody like an old selfie. Yeah. Well, you guys are all married. Yeah. But okay, so anyway, I'm like, okay, something's not right. I find the baby mama, the girl who I know is the mother of these children, and I DM her on Instagram, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry about what happened to your son. Like, let me know if there's anything I can do to help you.
You reached out to her?
And she's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I'm here. My sons are fine. I'm here at my house with my husband and our kids. He was married with kids in Orange County. Was trying to like start a second family. Yeah.
Wait.
Wow. Yeah.
So did you tell her the truth?
Oh yeah, I told her the truth, and she was a little bit in shock. She was sad, but she was like, honestly, if I'm being totally honest, it doesn't surprise me that much because this is actually kind of how I met him. He was married to someone else, told her that they were going through a divorce, and then now she later found out that like maybe they actually weren't going through a divorce, and just like a scumbag, a serial scumbag.
Or they say like you lose them how you get them, or you get them.
Yeah. But that really shook me to my core because it made me not trust my own ability to pick. I was like, I never really, like, I wasn't in love with him or anything. I wasn't heartbroken, but like we had a good, he was a sociopath. He was like super charismatic, funny. He was like,
I mean, to be able to live a double life like that and to lie like that, you have to be like off.
Yeah.
So off.
Like that's scary.
Yeah, you got to be real.
He did love bomb me. Being love bombed it's kind of intoxicating.
Especially when you're coming right out of a relationship, you're like, God, this feels great.
It's like, okay, I'll take the gift.
So is it like giving you the attention? You're like, oh, I'll take it.
Yeah. He was very charismatic, very funny, and just like a complete liar. Like after I went through everything.
How did you approach him with this information?
When you approach somebody who is that level of like narcissistic sociopath,
like what are you talking about?
It was my fault
For reaching out to her.
It was my fault for. What he started to do was text me things like, you couldn't take the fact that I didn't want to be with you, blah, blah, blah. It's also he could
send it to her.
and sent it to her.
What a psycho.
And then she looked in his emails and like she saw like she saw all the proof is there, but somebody like that, they can just look you straight in the face and be like, no, it was your fault. And I'm like, but I met you on a dating app. And he's like, no, you didn't. We met, he told her that we met like in Vegas or something. I don't know. Like nothing made sense. Absolutely nothing made sense. The weirdest thing for me though was that I talked to his mom. Remember I told you I talked to his mom on the phone? Yeah. So the mom supposedly is like this shut-in alcoholic that like
she's in on it, yeah.
There's some weird shit going on.
She probably thought you were the wife.
Who knows? Literally.
Yeah, exactly.
No, how are the kids? Exactly.
Which one are you with today? Like,
no, I don't know. It just got weirder and weirder. It just got, So that was probably the worst. Okay. That was definitely the worst.
Like, do you FaceTime with a guy before you agree to go out with him or meet up with him?
I have.
Done the dating.
Yeah, like I'm curious about that because I don't know if like I would just go on one of those apps and then go on a date. Like I feel like I would have to FaceTime, like do the whole thing, make sure I'm not being catfished.
Oh, well, I mean, it's probably smart to do it that way. I have done it like that, and then I've gone on first dates, wished that I had done it like that. By the time like 2 years of dating people, and I really wanted to find a partner. So I was dating with like intention. I was trying to go on like as many dates as possible and like treat it like a job. Yeah. And like, some of these guys I definitely should have FaceTime beforehand because there's things that you can tell like I'm just not going to be able to live my life with like a squeaky voice or something. Like I don't know. It's like, or if they have a lisp. One guy had like a really bad lisp. I was like, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Wait, so then what do? You're like on the date and they're like talking to you. You're like, oh God,
how do I get out of this? Well, you have to make sure. So you go on a coffee date or like go for a drink or something, but do not commit to a whole meal of food. Yeah. Like I did like an Italian dinner. This is the other thing like you feel bad sometimes if you feel like the guy's really into it. And this one guy was like, kept pursuing me. I really didn't like, I was like, I'm not into it, but I thought it was kind of sweet how much he was, so I agreed, and it was like a 12-course Italian meal. And in the end, I feel like it just ends up hurting their feelings more because like they just know that
you
you're
have not
to
say something. I think in some cases, too, which is like awkward.
I remember going on a date from a dating app, and he took me to the Four Seasons for dinner, and he was like so nice, and all of a sudden he's like, "Do you feel it?" I'm like, "Is there an earthquake?" He's like, the connection. I was like,
why did they do that?
After that, no.
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta go.
That's a thing.
Did you hear that? That's my car. I gotta go.
You have to have like the friend call you and like have like a fake thing. Like, oh, I have to go, like my house is burning down or something.
So is this your first serious relationship since your divorce? And how did you know this was right?
This was right. I don't know. It's so interesting because I ended up meeting him on Hinge actually, which was like my friend was like, you should go on a dating app like where people don't think they're famous and they're just normal. And I was like, okay. And I met him right away, and I had so many like dating coaches on my podcast, and just I read so many books, and I was listening, just like trying to get it right because it was like one fail after the next. It was like pretty traumatic fails, like that guy, and there's so many people who are like, don't sleep with people until you have commitment, and they're just rules. And then what ended up happening with the guy that I'm seeing now, and everything is going really great, is like none of the rules.
They flew out the window. You just, it was good.
Yeah.
You felt
it.
Easy.
And sometimes I did everything right with like the guy right before him. I thought I did everything right. It was like 3 months until I like slept with him, and then right after I did, he like pulled away and was like it wasn't like that's all he was there for. But I think when men sense that the woman is like serious, and then it makes them think like, oh, maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not like ready for this.
Right. And you don't need that.
Even though he said he was ready for it. It was a blessing, obviously, because like it wasn't who I would have wanted to be with. Yeah, I don't know. Just so many things. He also had gone through a divorce less than a year ago. That's the thing. It's like older men have bigger problems.
Yeah.
Or like they're usually involved with something.
Yeah.
So yeah, the guy who I started dating, it was just like we were silly together. It was like we had so much fun together. I wasn't second guessing like any of the things that he texted me or like, what does this mean? Or it was like back and forth. I wasn't like, oh, it's his turn to like, the ball's in his court for this. There's a lot of like the way you interact with somebody on text, I think says so much about how much, like how secure they make you feel, you know? Cause yeah, so it just felt easy and it felt silly and it didn't feel like, oh, that I need to hold on to this because like it's too good. And you know, when like something feels too good to be true and you feel like you have to like make things work around it so that there was none of that. It was like, this is great, but if it doesn't work, I'll live too. And I think that was also part of it. It just felt like really easy and fun.
That's amazing. We're happy for you.
Thank you.
So happy. How long have you guys been together?
Well, like 4 months.
Okay.
So not,
But you know what? It's a start.
Yeah, well, and we're over the honeymoon phase. I feel like if you can get past, this is my water.
Have your kids, have they met him?
Yeah.
And do they like him?
They do. They love him. He's like, oh, I love kids. And then he spends like 2 days with my kids and he's like, your kids are terrorists. Yeah. I'm like, I told you, it's not.
Well, kids, people think that kids are like one thing until you have to live life with them. And I'm like.
Yeah, exactly.
They're little shit.
Yeah, it's like they can't put on their socks. They can't put on their if they do know how, they are pretending they don't.
I know. Yeah. And then it's like an hour to tie a shoe because they're insisting on themselves doing it.
Yeah.
What advice do you think you would give to other women who are getting into new relationships that don't really like know how to go about handling that with their younger kids and introducing them and like what were your thoughts on it before you introduced them?
Right. Well, I introduced him as a friend first and just kind of like made it really low stakes for everybody. I feel like probably the worst thing you could do is like building it up too much or even like briefing them beforehand. I feel like anything that you do that's different than how you'd introduce a friend seems like unnecessary. I don't know. Kids can feel the vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I did it right, but it seemed to work out well. I mean, my son's like, oh, I love him. Zach has a crush on you. You have a crush on Zach. And he like,
Cute. He's protecting you.
Yeah.
So cute.
And then my daughter's like, I don't want you to have a crush because I don't want you to get married and then you have to move away and leave me. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works, like at all. You know, they just don't understand. So I have to, things like that come up. And you know your kids, like you can tell if they are feeling a certain way about him. So my daughter is feeling a little bit like, like almost threatened by him. Like, is he going to take away my mom? Where my son is like, sweet, like can he sleep over? I'm like,
Aurora, thank you for being here.
thank you for having me. So much
You're
fun.
so funny and so real.
Oh, thank you. You have to be light about it. Otherwise, it's just all sad.
No, I love it. But if you want to listen to Aurora, you can find her podcast, Barely Filtered.
Yep.
And her Instagram at Aurora Culpo.
Yep.
And anything else you want to?
Yeah, no, that's it. Barely Filtered. You can watch on YouTube or listen anywhere you listen to your podcast.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I feel like we're having a sleepover party.
I know, it's so fun.
We should. Yeah. You could fit right in.
But before you go, do you want to play a game with us?
Sure.
It's called Dare to Dip or Spill the Pudding. It's a truth or dare, never have I ever game.
Okay.
So first 5 fingers down has to either pick a dare card or a truth card.
Okay.
All right, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay, and it's never have I ever for not just this week, it's for ever. Okay. Never have I ever been ghosted.
Well, what is ghosted? Someone doesn't respond to you?
Oh my God, yeah.
You've been ghosted. You've been ghosted. I can tell you that.
We've ghosted you. She said.
We've ghosted you.
She's like, oh, that's what that
I've
means.
been like politely like dumped, but not ghosted.
But yeah.
Okay, never have I ghosted someone.
Oh, I have.
Okay. Never have I ever been stood up on a date.
Stood up?
Okay. Never have I ever called one of my kids by the dog's name.
Well, yeah. I feel like everybody
I go through
has a dog.
everyone's name except for the one I'm looking at.
Never have I ever posted a happy photo during a very chaotic day.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody does that.
Yeah.
Never have I ever lied about my number.
Oh, I have.
Oh, I'm very.
I give away my friend's number all the time.
Wait, no. You're the
How many you've had sex with?
No, like your phone number.
That's what I was thinking of.
I thought it was sex.
Wait, I thought it was a sex number. I was like,
You would need like 100 hands and 100
No,
toes.
I don't lie about it though. I was like, I've had a great time in my 20s and early.
I don't know.
I lost track exactly.
oh yeah, and my name.
I thought, yeah.
I'm
Okay.
Sarah.
Never have I ever hidden a package from a spouse or boyfriend.
Every day.
Daily.
Every day.
Never have I ever texted an ex, I miss you, while being drunk.
Oh.
While being married or
Oh,
Staci
Staci lost.
All right,
While being
Staci.
married? Wow, Jord, where are you going with this?
No, I haven't. I'm just saying, did you mean while being married?
Oh no. I don't
Okay. But you lost, so you.
Dare to dip or spill the pudding?
You know what? I'll spill the pudding. Have you ever stalked somebody's social media so hard you accidentally liked something from 5 years ago? Yes.
You did that.
And
You
it
did
was
that
horrible. Danielle did it
recently.
with a couple that
I
she
just
like
met
met that day.
I met a couple that day and I was like, oh, we had like a pizza thing at this country club we belonged to, whatever. And we sat there, they were such a nice couple. And I was like, oh, but I want to know what they do. Like, who are they? So obviously I stalked them and then I was like scrolling and then I was like, and I'm like, Kevin!
But can't you unlike it?
Then I was like, that's even weirder. Like, what if they get a notification?
And then she like messaged them or something.
Oh
yeah, and then I remember, like, I was spiraling. I was like,
Yeah,
and then
Evan
Kevin's like,
answered.
did they write you back? Did they write you back? I was like, no. He's like, God, that's embarrassing. And I was like, I'm sweating. I texted all the girls. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I just met them. Like, I'm going to see them all the time. Like, this is so embarrassing.
Oh,
And
they
then-
probably didn't notice until you messaged them.
So then I just said like, hey, it was so nice meeting you. Like,
I scrolled through your
entire
entire
Instagram
Instagram
feed.
feed. Have a good
because I also,
You live a great life.
I also had to find her on Instagram. It wasn't like she gave me hers. I had to find
You
her.
were searching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Wait, were they
fun.
private, or so they had to accept you and then you
No,
stalked?
they were public. So I didn't even follow them yet. It was
Okay.
even worse.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, now I have to like,
worse.
follow, and then now write a
Yeah,
DM.
yeah,
Now I
yeah.
just feel like a crazy bitch who you just met.
But like you were probably like spiraling in
I was
your
spiraling.
head,
I was
but
like, I'm
like
sweating
it really
now. Like,
wasn't
I'm
like
hot.
that. I'm sweating for you actually.
So embarrassing.
Oh my
You've done that
God.
for sure.
I've for sure done that. Like if you like when I would be like dating someone and then like I would look at like, you know, like their
Someone else
ex
they
or
dated
something.
and like that's crazy.
And then you do it.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's
I
bad.
was dating this guy once and his ex-girlfriend accidentally friend requested me. And then she like did it and then it went away. So you know she like accidentally like
Yeah.
clicked it.
Wow.
Cringe.
Aurora, thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for having me.
We had the best time. Thanks for keeping it real with us. And thank you everyone for listening to the Pudding Pal podcast. Remember to share this episode and like and subscribe with your friends. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Oh, I thought
Cheers.
Evan was behind me.